What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more r/AmITheButtHole. If you're new to the channel and love a Reddit story, why not click that subscribe button, maybe that notification bell too, and let's jump straight in to today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story does follow with an update, and it's from a throwaway account titled "Am I the Arsehole for not sharing the income from a board game that I created, even though he had a huge part in its development, because he demanded payment up front?" So, I love board games, and a hobby of mine is create my own games. I play my games with family and friends. I'm very creative in terms of inventing games, but I'm not visually creative. I can't draw, paint, etc. My brother, on the other hand, is an amazing visual artist, both drawing by hand and digitally. When I first started making games, I had this fantasy that I was going to get rich. My brother was on board and did all the visual art. The assumption was split any earnings 50-50. We had some fun, but at the end of the day, all our games failed to find a publisher or sell. My brother got sick of all the work with no reward and stopped wanting to work on the games. I respected that, but I really thought one day I could make a successful game. I tried hiring a graphic designer for $60 an hour, but I just didn't have the same connection and we didn't get along. So I asked my brother if he would work for me if I paid him $60 per hour. He agreed. We made several more games together, and he was totally disinterested in the sales aspect. From my point of view, I was hiring him to make my games. Anyway, I can't believe I'm typing this sentence, but my absolute favorite publisher agreed to publish my game. I invented the game and its rules, but my brother was integral to working out details, sharing his ideas, and creating an eye-catching design to get this published. I could not have done this without him. The thing is that all of his contributions were paid for by me at the rate of $60 per hour. So now we've come to the obvious conflict. My brother wants a co-creator credit and half the money. We never discussed terms, but when we were working together without pay, we agreed everything was 50-50. But in my opinion, when he started requiring payment, he was my employee, and anything he did during that time was my property. The reason why I don't think it's fair to have to share with him is that I paid him literally thousands of dollars on projects that didn't yield money for me. So before he started requiring payment, I feel like we were both investing our time and skills, so the benefits were both of ours, although nothing ever sold. For him to start requiring money, for me that seems like he didn't believe in me, and now that I sold the game, he wants back in. I absolutely admit that this game wouldn't exist without my brother's work and talent, but he got his compensation, and I don't plan on sharing ownership of the game with him. As you may expect, my brother complained to parents, grandparents, and aunts and uncles. Without exception, they all think I should share with my brother. That really made me second guess myself, since literally 100% of my family thinks I should share with my brother. Am I the arsehole? There's something about this whole thing that makes me upset, like my brother stopped believing in me. Am I selfish, or should I be able to keep all the money? Edit, thank you all for your responses. I posted this last thing before going to bed at night, and I'm still taking in a lot of what you said. One thing I do want to mention is that the publisher has designers who are redoing all of the artwork to be more in line with their branding and style. Also, his artwork was not meant to be fully finished for release, even though his work was necessary to catch the publisher's attention and sell the game. None of it will be in the final product. Now, I've got to say already, I'm wavering on this one between a not the arsehole and an everyone sucks here. I kind of say not the arsehole because, you know, he did take the $60 per hour for artwork, but I also understand where he was coming from, that he couldn't continue to work for free doing art, time-consuming stuff for free. You know, he needs to get money from somewhere, so I can't blame him for not wanting to continue working for free. Absolutely not. Who wants to do that, right? And there was a part you mentioned, it wasn't just about the art. You said, I can't believe I'm typing this sentence, but my absolute favorite publisher agreed to publish the game. You said, I invented the game and its rules, but my brother was integral to working out details, sharing his ideas, and creating eye-catching design to get this published. So it almost sounds like he was a co-creator in this game, rather than, and I'm saying just with air quotes here, an artist. And where the real everyone sucks here comes into this to me is that, there was nothing written down. If you're going to create something like this, surely you need to have a contract of some sort. I think this is open to all sorts of legal possibilities if your brother really did want to push it. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm not a lawyer, as they say in Reddit. And also there's no sort of there's no written paperwork for his artwork. So, he could still own all the rights to that artwork. I've seen it before. So I'm going to have to come at this one with an everyone sucks here, because this could go all sorts of different ways, I think. But we're going to cover a couple of comments, then we'll move on to the update. Lively Sally says, not the arsehole. You had the risk of sinking even more money into games who weren't successful. Your brother didn't want to risk that and took an hourly pay. He got his reimbursement for his work. Happy Friday says, not the arsehole, but how far do you really want to push this, as it's likely to cause a family rift? Maybe have a chat with him and say that although you appreciate that you couldn't have done it without him, you took the financial risk and paid him for his work at the time, but would cut him in 20/80 or 30/70 instead of 50/50, as you want to enjoy this exciting experience with him. Or you'd be well within your rights to stand your ground and keep the money for yourself, but you need to decide if you're prepared to have a family rift as a result. Equivalent Collar says, not the arsehole. Would you have split the money with the graphic designer you were paying? No. Your brother was already paid. Art by Ambrosia says, everyone sucks here. I say this because you should have written up a contract. He was working on art for free for a long time and eventually couldn't anymore. I can definitely understand that as an artist myself. However, it sounds like you all didn't bother to do any of that planning for the future of the business and were just working as a family despite you paying him. This muddied the proverbial waters. He also did way more than a commissioned artist, gave ideas and built the game with you. Didn't just do a single illustration. Most artists want pay and credit / a small portion of sales profit, and that's totally normal. Not 50%, but something like 5%. You should have been clear with him, and it's not fair to pull the rug out from under him when you are finally successful. He should have also made his expectations clear from the start. Also, you work so well together and you are successful because of this individual. Would you like to have one game to fight over or several potentially successful ones to share going forward? I'd salvage this relationship for both of your sakes, but also have it out that they hurt you deeply by not believing in you. And one more from Disney Addict who says, not the arsehole. Your brother now wants to be a partner because this game was sold and will make money. He can't have it both ways. You were paying him and he didn't want to work for free like you did. If he wanted to be a partner, he shouldn't have been asking you to pay him for his work. He should pay you back all the money you gave him if he truly wants to be a 50/50 partner. So, update. Thanks to everyone for your opinions and advice. After reading them, I felt convinced that I'm mostly in the right. However, it would probably be worth it to come to some kind of agreement. We agreed my brother could keep the money I already paid him, and I'd give him 25% of what I earn on the game for the first 12 months. In exchange, he's going to sign an agreement to give up all rights to any previous game we created, including the ones that we made before I started paying him. Also, he's not going to take an hourly payment going forward, and we will split any other games 50/50. I still think I would have been justified to not pay him. It's worth it to just avoid conflicts and preserve the partnership for future games. And if I decide to work with other partners in the future, I'll be able to do that without worries about any claims he might have. So, all in all, I'm satisfied with the outcome. Thanks again. And I think that was probably the best solution in this. I know a lot of people are going to come in this one and say, he had the full right to keep all the money and all that. And whilst I do agree to some point, I think the contract should have been written up at the very beginning and none of this problem would have started anyway. So I think it's a bit of a learning curve, a positive experience in some ways. And, the brothers' relationship stays intact somewhat, which I think is a good thing. In my opinion anyway. Not that that matters, but hey, let's move on to the next story. And our next story comes from a user 667099951, titled, Am I the arsehole for refusing to propose to my girlfriend right now just because her sister wouldn't allow me to attend her wedding as my girlfriend's +1? Whew, what a title. Don't know if this title makes sense. I'm a bit drunk right now and I'm struggling to type accurately. Here we go. So my girlfriend's sister is getting married at the end of this month. Invitation had already been sent out. The problem started when my girlfriend received an invitation, but I didn't. She then told me her sister said I wasn't allowed to come since her wedding only allows married / engaged partners of family members to attend. It's funny because I've been with my girlfriend for 4+ years and her family considers me as their own. We attend every function together as a couple, but honestly, I don't care if I'm not allowed to attend. My girlfriend, however, does care and told me she wanted me at the wedding, and the only way to make that happen is if I propose to her and announce our engagement. I didn't agree for several reasons. Number one, I'm still in the phase of grieving my deceased dad, and two, I can't afford the ring my girlfriend always wanted right now. Heck, I barely have gas money till the end of the month. My girlfriend said I should borrow from my family or friends, but I didn't want to deal with debt on top of the rent, you know. My girlfriend insisted this was the best solution. I asked why she can't talk to her sister again and see if she agreed to let me attend if it's such a big deal for her, but she said she already has, but her sister and her fiancé were being stubborn. I said sorry, looks like I'm not going to be there then, I guess. My girlfriend threw a fit saying she wants me there so badly, and I'm not trying as hard as she is right now, and insisted the best thing to do is propose to her ASAP to make it official and attend the wedding together. I refused, and she cried about how I'm letting circumstances win this situation, and again said I wasn't doing enough. Like I said, I don't give two shits about being invited, but seeing how this is a huge deal to my girlfriend, I'm thinking maybe I'm being negative and dismissive. You know, sometimes I have a hot take after I read a story, and my hot take on this one is that he's being manipulated into proposing. That's the way it certainly feels to me. This whole situation is weird as hell. I don't know if it's a thing where some weddings only allow married and engaged partners of family members to attend. Is that something I've missed in life? I don't know. It sounds like a strange one to me, but never be forced into proposing. And the whole thing about the ring as well was a bit worrying. You know, she knows your financial situation by the sounds of it, but still wants you to get her a dream ring, a dream wedding ring. Holy shit. But GW2K Pro says, sounds like your girlfriend and her sister are setting you up. I've heard some bogus reasons to get married before, but in order to attend a wedding that you should be invited to anyway, has to be top of the list. Not the arsehole. OK Mode says, not the arsehole. Why would you even want to propose to someone like this? 1. She thinks it's acceptable to go into debt for the ring. 2. She's overly concerned with what her family thinks. 3. She doesn't care about your grieving. 4. She's not listening to you and only thinking about herself. Seriously, why? Username says, not the arsehole. The worst of it is that you say that one of the reasons is that you can't afford the ring she wants, and her response isn't, that's okay, it's not about the ring, we'll save up for it and get it later. It's, well, borrow money for it. If you've been dating for 4 years, I wonder if this was being done on purpose. Either A, her sister not liking you or your girlfriend for some reason, or B, a plot between your girlfriend and her sister to guilt you into proposing. I'm sorry about your father. And Mr. Marsupial says, hey man, I'm drunk too. You don't have a proposal problem, you have a girlfriend problem. And one more from Yasmin Eats Apples, who says, tell me you desperately want your boyfriend to propose already without telling me you desperately want your boyfriend to propose already. Hope not one well-minded person on this weary earth actually wants their SO to commit their lives to them and throw themselves in debt just so they can attend a fucking party with them. Oh my god, lol. Not the arsehole at all. Don't do anything stupid. Now, what do you guys think about this one? That is a crazy situation to be in. Let me know your thoughts and we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from Throwaway Mom. Am I the arsehole for making my daughter cover up at home? Background info, I, 58 female, have a daughter, 22 female. I am very anti-tattoo. My daughter is very aware of this. When she left to go to college, I told her as long as I was paying for her school, she was not allowed to get a tattoo. Since I was paying for her undergrad, she followed my rules. When she was getting ready to start grad school about 1.5 years ago, which she was paying for, she apparently went out and got a tattoo of a butterfly on her shoulder that's about the size of my fist. I didn't know about it until 6 months ago when she finally mentioned it. I absolutely hate it. I think it's ugly and gross. The current situation. My daughter is moving back in with me and my mother to complete her internship that is required for a master's degree. I told her that when she's in the house, she has to wear clothing that covers the tattoo because I don't want to see it. She says that's not fair because it's very hot where we live and she likes to wear tank tops and stuff. I say it's my house, so it's my rules, and she is welcome to find other living arrangements if she doesn't like it. I know that she cannot find other arrangements because the internship is unpaid, so she has no option exception living with me for free. My mother doesn't really like tattoos either, but she hasn't said anything about the situation except to say she is staying out of it. I think I might be the arsehole because she is an adult who can make her own choices. But I cannot stand the tattoo, and I'm so disappointed that she made the choice to get one. So, am I the arsehole? I know it's your house, and if you really want to, you can send her away because of this tattoo. That would be your choice. But is this really the hill you want to die on? As you said yourself, your daughter is an adult who can make her own choices with her own body, but by doing what you're doing right now, you're damaging the relationship between you and your daughter. And is that what you want for yourself? Do you want to turn your daughter away? Do you want to push your daughter away from you? Is that really worth it over a tattoo? Regardless of what your thoughts are on tattoos, is that really what you want to do? And the questions going through, what is your problem with tattoos? Yeah, you might dislike seeing them, but does it really affect you that much that you need it to cover up in your house? That's absolutely ridiculous to me. Be happy that your daughter's moving on in life, getting an education, living her life, and has her own independence. And I think you should be really thankful of that rather than criticizing her and potentially pushing her away. But Trump Truck Nuts says, "You're the arsehole. It may be your house, but it's not your body." Also, she's finishing up her masters. Sounds like she got a good head on her shoulders and is intelligent. Why not be positive about that instead of being negative about her tattoos? To be honest, you're an adult. Act like it. It's not even an offensive tattoo, yet you're willing to kick your child to the curb over it. She's a grown woman in school trying to make something of herself, and all you see is a butterfly tattoo. Meow Mum Broken says also something to contemplate. Which is bigger, your hatred of tattoos or your love of your daughter? Because one of the two things is going to shape your relationship with her. Your call which one. Poison of King says, "You're the arsehole. Yeah, sure it's your money in your house and all that good shit. But my god, woman, your daughter is not some auxiliary attachment of yours. She's going to have her own morals and values and wants, and you need to just get the hell over it. No one is making you get tatted, but your daughter is an adult who is allowed to make her own choices. She shouldn't have to cover up in her place of living just because you're too sensitive." Excellent Guest says, "You're the arsehole. Do you actually have a legitimate reason behind hating tattoos, or are you one of those parents that need to control every aspect of their child's life? Why the fuck do you care about a small butterfly tattoo? How does it actually affect you? It's not like your daughter is a bum, it just sounds like you're making a mountain out of a molehill." And one more from Vespa 2021 who says, "You're the arsehole. Why is this so important to you? Honestly, you sound nuts, and this is coming from a 56-year-old who doesn't like tattoos either." Now, what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to another story. And our next story also follows with an update from Not Letting Stay titled, "Am I the arsehole for letting my nephew, who recently came out, live with us after getting kicked out?" My nephew Tyler is 18. He came out this week and his dad didn't take it well. My sister asked me if I would let him stay with me until her husband calmed down and let him move back in. I'm not close with my nephew due to past behaviour and the fact that he's been a bully to my son, 15 male, since they were kids. That was something we tried working out, but Tyler never seemed to learn. Since my sister didn't do much because of her boys will be boys mentality, I limited interaction with them. Then last year, Tyler antagonized my son on social media. Before that happened, my son went through something traumatic that I won't get into details here, but it left him with a lot of anxiety about going out. He made a celebratory post about going to the grocery store for the first time in months by himself without getting a panic attack. Tyler decided to call him a pussy, asked why is he getting excited about something so stupid and not even a big deal. I confronted Tyler directly because he knew what my son had experienced. He wasn't apologetic because according to him, he was just jokingly giving him a hard time and didn't mean it in a bad way. This time, I told my sister Tyler is to stay away from my son completely. This new situation doesn't change the fact that I don't want Tyler near him. Even with the promises that he won't do anything, I can't trust him. He's done it before when I'm not around until it pushes my son to finally tell me. That's why I'm apparently being an arsehole to him, given this difficult and emotional moment he's going through. My wife and I said we could pitch in for him to stay somewhere. Our other family lives far and he's still in school, but not in our house. The reason she refuses this is because Tyler needs to be with family at the moment and things are complicated at their house right now. She's trying to calm things down but says it could be a long while since her husband doesn't want him back at all. If things had been different, I'd accept him into our home in a heartbeat. but not if it means putting my son in a position to be bullied. My mum understands how awful Tyler has been to my son, the way he's tormented him, and that we've tried to make things work. In this situation, she does think I'm not being a good uncle and an arsehole because of what Tyler is currently going through. That it's more serious. They're both honest about this, but we've had to say no. Are we being arseholes? Now, as I said, we do have an update to this, but a random Amber says, not the arsehole, you're protecting your kid from his bully. Not saying behaviours can't change, but considering your son's mental health at the current time, allowing your nephew to live with him would probably worsen his anxiety, and even if your nephew didn't mess with him. Jonathan Welford says, perhaps your sister should move her husband out of the house before he calms down. I empathise with a gay nephew. However, he uses the bullying to make him feel better about a situation, and you have to prioritise your son. Your sister won't understand this, as her priority is her son and his well-being, rather than the issue that it cause your immediate family members. You're not the arsehole. Rossi1113 says, not the arsehole. You're not taking him in because he came out, but because he's been bullying your son. Your son always goes before your nephew. Having Tyler over at your house will increase the anxiety level of your son. Tyler should have thought about his actions before and what consequences what they might have. Hopefully your wife can realise that for the sake of your son. I wish you the best of luck. Absolute says, not the arsehole. I hate that boys will be boys crap. So you're supposed to let your son get bullied because your nephew is going through a hard time. What about your son? I'm sorry, but your mum can be considered an arsehole here as well. Meowen says, not the arsehole. I'm gay myself and coming out was difficult. That being said, his mum needs to find another solution, because forcing him on you and the kid he has bullied is not the answer. And one more from Poor Honey, who says, not the arsehole. While there's probably something there around Tyler's sexuality affecting his behaviour to your son, there is no reason to accept someone into your home that has tormented your own son and will potentially continue to do so. Someone else said it, and I'll echo it. It's unfair for family to matter to your sister when it comes to her husband wanting to kick their son out, but not when it comes to tackling their son's shitty behaviour. Also, your mum understands how awful Tyler's been, but thinks you're an arsehole for not taking him in. Sounds like Grandma is totally stepping up to offer Tyler a place to stay for an undetermined amount of time to me. Now let's move up to the update to see what that says. So update. Well, it appears I have been bamboozled, or almost at least, by my sister and Tyler. My mum claims she had no idea and now she's angry at them too. Had some time this weekend to have a chat with my brother-in-law, Tyler's dad, because honestly, despite Tyler's awful behaviour, I was disgusted at any parent disowning their child over their sexuality. I called him to talk, not only to give him a piece of my mind, but also understand why he's even being like this. Like I said in my previous comment, his late brother was gay, and he never had a problem with that. It was just a shock to see him have such a strong negative reaction. Or maybe he'd always been secretly against it, or now it's different because it's his own son. I don't know, that's why I called. He had no idea what I was talking about, so there really was more to the story than my sister was leading on. Tyler came out to them months ago, and him getting kicked out wasn't the reason at all. I'm super skeptical about this because to me it seemed like maybe he was trying to play innocent to avoid getting shit on, until he went and got my sister to tell him exactly what she told me. They got into a fight, then my sister finally told me no, her husband didn't kick Tyler out of the house for being gay, since they were aware of it for months. He got into some trouble at school that he lied about, and while he was grounded for that, Tyler had taken his dad's car without permission and messed it up. He said it just seemed like one thing after another, especially the way he was acting with their own kids, which was the straw that broke the camel's back for him and told Tyler to get out. After the whole thing, I was furious with my sister. She apologised a million times. Her only excuse was she was desperate for Tyler having a place to stay and hoped the whole gay thing would make me reconsider until her husband cooled down and let Tyler come back. I've had a day to calm down, told my mum how my sister lied. Now at least we're more secure in our decision and don't feel like arseholes at all for not letting him come with us. Tyler is at a friend's house now. Don't know if his dad plans to let him move back in, but one thing's certain, he's not staying here with us at all. Not for what he's done to my son, and especially not after knowing all the reasons why he's not at his parents anymore. That's their mess to deal with now. Thanks for your judgment and thoughts, Reddit. Just wanted to leave this new bit of info on here. Wow, and what a twist at the end there, and the sister is... Why? I don't get it, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below and we'll move on to another story. And this story's from a throwaway account titled, "Am I the arsehole for refusing to attend my brother's wedding after he called the cops to my wedding and called my wife a thief?" My male 31 mum is deceased. Her ring was passed down to me as the older brother of 3. Neither of my younger brothers seemed interested in following family tradition, so decided to honour my mother's memory and proposed to my wife with my mother's ring, and she loved it. My brother Carl, 28, came to me a few days before my wedding saying he was going to propose to his girlfriend and wanted the ring my wife had as her engagement ring. I said no because I already proposed to her with it, but he lashed out saying I can't be reasonable thinking that passing down mum's ring to my wife, who I've only been with for 3 years, when he's known his girlfriend for over 7 years. Plus, mum always considered her as a daughter she's never had, so she's more of a family than my wife. I told him yes, mum thought of her as a daughter, but never stated the ring goes to her. Plus, I didn't think he was going to propose to girlfriend at all, seeing their relationship was on and off for the past few months. We argued about it and he kept insisting and harassing me till I disinvited him from my wedding. But Carl showed up at the wedding and started calling my wife a thief, repeatedly telling her to give back my mum's ring that I helped her steal. He made a scene by calling the police and it ended up being closed as family dispute. My wedding was ruined and my wife was devastated. That was it for me. I went no contact for a whole year and only talked to my younger brother, Simon. Fast forward a couple of weeks ago. Simon told me Carl is getting married and wanted me and my wife to come to his wedding. He gave us the invitation. I declined and reminded Simon of what Carl did at my wedding. He said Carl felt awful about what happened and wanted to come to his wedding as his older brother for support and hoped this would be a start of something good. I told him I wouldn't support someone who called my wife a thief in her own wedding, much less my brother who was supposed to show support that day but instead called the cops. I returned the invite but Dad and Aunt disagreed with me, saying Carl cares about me and wants to share this important chapter in his life and it's time to let go, but I refused to go. As a result, I'm now considered bitter and cruel since Carl was sincere and even cried beside my wife. And I won by keeping the ring, so we lost nothing. I want to add that I felt guilty because before this whole thing took place, Carl and I were very close. But what he did can't be undone, and he's forever tainted the memory of my wedding, but also I'm aware of how me declining the invitation might look petty. Well, straight away you can see that Carl hasn't approached OP to apologise to him directly. It's all coming through word of mouth and that they want to make amends through this wedding. And after he ruined your wedding the way he did, come in, called the police, called your wife a thief, yeah, I'll go no contact with someone like that forever too, brother or not. But Era Bliss says, not the arsehole, your brother ruined your wedding. Why should you pretend he didn't and act like he did nothing wrong just so he can have the wedding he wanted? Also, I feel he probably just wanted another chance at the ring. Avocados Are Cool says, not the arsehole, and I noticed Carl himself hasn't contacted you to apologise or invite. Not that you'd have to go even if he did, but that would certainly make it seem more like he actually means it. Good for you for standing up for your wife, and if you did go low contact or no contact with Dad and Aunt too, oh well. Stan MB says, not the arsehole. Maybe, and that's just a maybe, you could reconsider if Carl approached you directly and started with a sincere apology. Absent that, he called the cops on my wedding. Is the best reason not to attend someone's wedding I've heard. L15 says, not the arsehole. Carl ruined your wedding by insisting you act against your mother's dying wishes. The best wedding gift you can give him is by not returning the favour in my opinion. Bert the Nerd says, lol. So much not the arsehole. Have you thought he only wants you there to get the ring? Also, I wonder why the family bothers you about it. You are perfectly justified, and additionally your first loyalty goes towards your wife, not towards a shitty brother. Even if you could forgive him sometimes, you cannot go against your wife. You simply cannot do it to her before she forgives him. And one more from 2 Cent Psychologist who says, not the arsehole, and those are crocodile tears. If he was sincere, he'd approach OP and OP's wife beforehand to sincerely apologise. Although I'm not sure how someone can do that after his actions. He wants the public absolution of having OP at the wedding. If I were OP and for some reason inclined to want to save the relationship with brother, I'd demand that they must 1. Sign a legal document foregoing any claims ever to the ring. 2. Pay and organise an event for OP and wife's family to celebrate their 1-year anniversary. 3. Privately apologise to OP and OP's wife before such an event, and then publicly apologise again for his horrible actions. 4. Postpone their wedding till after all the above, as it's not appropriate he gets to have a celebration after he ruined OPs and before he makes amends. Now, what do you guys make of this story? What are your thoughts on all of today's stories and your verdicts too if you choose to share them? If you do like a Reddit story, don't forget to click that subscribe button, maybe that notification bell too. And if you want to support the channel, you absolutely can as well by clicking that join button down below or the link in the description and joining up on Patreon. It hugely helps out the channel. It truly, truly does. And just a huge thank you for spending 20 to 30 minutes of your time with me today and getting involved. You are absolutely amazing. Do not forget that. And I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love. I got food up in the fridge. Y'all keep looking for that new way. I think I like it how it is.